Hi everyone, my name is Qianqian, and today I would like to give you a presentation about our paper. Maybe you have the experience of whispering to the people who are sitting close to you in the meeting or in the presentations. But what if this presentation now, we also have the people who joined remotely? Could you whisper to them, or could they whisper to you just as easy as verbally whispering? The answer is no, because there's no system could support remote whispering. But what if whispering cruised through walls, that you could whisper to the person without any limitation of the space and distance? Our paper is called Whispering Through Walls Towards Inclusive Backchannel Communication in Hybrid Meetings. This work is a collaboration between co-authors from Aarhus University and the University of Melbourne. They are Marcel, Emil, Susanne, and Eve. So in our paper, whispering and texting is a form of backchannel communication in the meeting. And backchannel communication could run parallel to the front channel. Front channel could mean what I'm doing now, like I'm giving presentations. And backchannel communication could be used to facilitate the process, like providing support. Or could be some discussions that related to the front channel. Or the backchannel communication could be totally unrelated to the front channel, like you message your colleague, what do we want to go for lunch? Please notice that the hybrid meeting is different from the physical meeting, or we could call co-located meeting, where all the participants are joined in the same space. And also, hybrid meeting is different from the distributed meeting, or we could call it remote meeting, where all the individuals joined remotely. So the hybrid meeting is a combination of them. It means that co-located and remote person joined synchronously in the meeting. So why we want to study backchannel communication, and specifically in the hybrid meetings? So not only because most of the video conferencing systems like Zoom and Teams, they're focusing on support front channel, but the most important thing is, unlike the co-located meeting or the distributed meeting, where all the participants have the same equal backchannel communication opportunities in the meeting, in hybrid meetings, the opportunity of backchannel communication is asymmetric between the co-located people and the remote people. For example, the co-located people, they can whisper to each other, but the remote people, they don't have the ability to whispering. So what kind of challenge could happen due to the asymmetry backchannel communication in hybrid meetings? And how could we deal with this by engaging new technologies? In this paper, we made 3 basic contributions. So we conducted an interview study, and we found 2 basic challenges of backchannel communication in hybrid meetings. And we developed a novel voice-based backchannel communication system, which called WhisperChannel, and is motivated by the challenges. And we employed a user study to find out how good WhisperChannel could tackle the challenges. We conducted 4 research activities, including interviews, focus group, and workshop. We found out that in hybrid meetings, not only the remote people would feel not included enough in the backchannel communications, but also the co-located people have the same feelings. Also, we found out that, especially using text-based platform, you need higher effort to conduct it. It's because of text message, it always have asynchronous nature, so that could lead to delay of the message, or sometimes if you mute your phone, you could not even notice the message during the meetings. So to make the backchannel communication more inclusive, we'll need lower effort. We developed a novel voice-based backchannel communication system, which called WhisperChannel. So WhisperChannel is a web application. It's used on a phone connected to earphones. The user interface shows an overview of the meeting, which could mimic the physical layout of the room. And participants are illustrated as avatars with a name. When not in a backchannel communications, one's own avatar is colored in orange and has a housemark. Avatars of other participants are colored gray. Remote participants are placed at the bottom of the screen. So using WhisperChannel to whisper to another person, you only need to press and talk. The action is quite like the walkie-talkie. This is indicated by the green color and a line between avatars. And once released, the backchannel closes again. But unlike walkie-talkie, when the back channel is open, it is open to both directions at the same time. So that means I can hear you while you're talking to me. It is a synchronous action, just like physical whispering. And it's totally different from sending a voice message, which is asynchronous. The dynamic of the backchannel communications are shown equally to everyone in the meeting. This also simulated when you're in the co-located space with another people, you could see who is whispering to whom. As a user study, we simulated a hybrid meetings, which included a main room and a remote room. And we invited 3 groups with 4 participants, in total 12 participants, to join our user study. And all the participants using WhisperChannel during a simulated hybrid meetings or presentations. We found out that the design of sharing the backchannel dynamic could increase the awareness of backchannels. Participants feel it's same with physical situation that you sometimes could see who and who are whispering together. But there's also participants feel like when they're whispering, they don't want other people to see they are whispering, so they don't really like to share the backchannel dynamic. And we also found out that not only the remote people, but also the co-located people feel more included in the backchannel communications. For example, the remote people feel more included due to the synchronous nature. For example, they can get instant feedback, and they feel nice to see they are in the small chit-chat communications. And also the co-located people feel it reduces the distance between another co-located participant who are sitting further away. But we also found out that the WhisperChannel does not remove all barrier to feel inclusion. For example, the participant who joined remotely said the remote still feel remote. At the effort part, the participant agree with WhisperChannel is low effort to use because it only need to press and talk, but the system interaction is still as not low effort as whispering yet. It's because, for example, sometimes participants feel like they have to be careful of the volume, and the synchronous one-to-one communications have its benefit. For example, the participants feel like when they need some help but don't want to gather too much attention, the WhisperChannel could be really useful. But it also leads to the drawbacks. For example, the participants feel like it would be quite implied if you replied not immediately. And it's also interesting to find out how the voice-only nature leads to the lower effort. For example, the participants share the experience of how they could using WhisperChannel to look and listen to the presentation while whisper to another people. In the end, maybe you're wondering about, should we make backchannel communication easier? Or you might don't like the ideas of having backchannel communications because you think it is implied. So I'm totally understand and agree with your concerns, because there indeed have some disadvantage of having backchannel communications, but we shouldn't totally discuss the value of having backchannel communication. Like from previous work or from our user study, we found out that how the backchannel communications could providing the support and how it has the potential to equalize the relationship or could let the participants feel more included in the hybrid meetings. And in our study, WhisperChannel is not a definite solution, but WhisperChannel is an exploratory study to find out how could we make backchannel communication more inclusive while need lower effort to use in hybrid meetings. Thus, WhisperChannel could lead to more backchannel communications, and whether it is good thing or not, it is still unknown. So in conclusion, we have 3 contributions, which the first contributions of interview study, we found out that 2 challenges of backchannel communication during hybrid meetings. One is both co-located and the remote people feel not included enough in backchannel communications. And second, the text-based platform always lead to higher effort. So the second contribution is we developed an inclusive, well-need, low-effort voice-based backchannel communication system, which called WhisperChannel, which is motivated by the 2 challenges from the interview study. And then we developed the user study, and we found out that the system like WhisperChannel could indeed let the participant feel more included, and also need lower effort to use at some point, but also introducing to higher effort. For example, you have to reply immediately. So that's all. Thank you for listening.